Okay. Good morning, everyone. We're here today to talk about learner-centered education. Especially, it's about affecting the effectiveness of online teaching and learning. My name is Hoài Tam, and it's my pleasure to share about my research. I'm going to interview 3 students, Kỳ Duyên, Quỳnh Như, Minh Anh, and then there will be the implication and recommendation from teacher Liu Thị Mỹ Linh. First, I would like to talk about the defining and characteristic of learner-centered education. Learner-centered teaching method is an important strategy adopted by second language teaching researcher and teacher, which encourage the students to make plans and choose what to learn according to their own interest. In this way, individual ability can be well motivated. According to Newman 2004, a learner-centered classroom is one in which students are actively involved in their own learning processes. And this involvement has 2 dimensions. First, students take charge of their own learning processes, including making decisions, plans, and so forth. Second, to maximize the classroom time for student interactive activities. Learner-centered teaching is defined as an approach to classroom teaching and learning that involve the creation of meaning from experience, use example ground in real life situation, encourage total participation, allowed for creativity and discovery in the outside of the classroom, relied on multiple sources of knowledge, and focused on the creating and forming concept using critical thinking and problem solving. According to Waitmer 2012, there are 5 characteristics of learner-centered teaching. First, engage students in the hard, messy work of learning. Teachers are doing too many learning tasks for students. In most classes, teachers are working much harder than students. Students could not develop sophisticated learning skills without the change to practice. Second, include explicit skill instruction. By learning how to solve problems, think critically, apply information, and integrate knowledge, students can learn to think like experts in a discipline. In other words, they not only need to learn content, but they also need to know how they can learn more. Third, encourage students to reflect on what they are learning and how they are learning it. The goal is to make students aware of themselves as learners and to make learning skills something students want to develop. Fourth, motivate students by giving them some control over learning processes. When teachers make all the decisions, the motivation to learn decreases and learner becomes dependent. Learner-centered teachers should share power with students. They might give students some choice about which assignment they complete, let students set assignment deadlines, or ask students to help create assessment criteria. And the last one, encourage collaboration. It sees both online face-to-face classroom as community of learners. Learner-centered teachers recognize that students can learn from and with each other, and teachers can learn from students as well. They see learning individually and collectively as the most important goal of any educational experience. And now I will interview Quỳnh Như. So Quỳnh Như, to you, what is the effectiveness of the online teaching and learning?
Okay, so now I would like to share about the effectiveness of the online teaching and learning. So its effectiveness in the educating student improve the perceptions of learning, especially online format. Students tend to be more confident when participating in class activities. Online learning also not only provide a multimedia technology to engage students and encourage student-centered learning, but also give the learner access to own style of learning. For example, with the online learning, students can easily find and read the document or the material before the class and support the self-study process. In addition, the effectiveness of an online program can be measured by looking at how many learners have started a course and completed it. Some of the positive learning outcomes are improved learning as measured by the test score, student engagement with the class materials. Additionally, the teachers can use a variety of teaching methods and instructions. For example, the teachers or instruction can use various lectures, modeling, hands-on activities, and visuals representations. They can use a variety of materials such as textbook for multiple grade level or computer software to present the information and offer several assignment choices. For instance, although the teachers can give a written test at the end of the unit or the course, he or she can provide the student with several options like a written report, models, video to assess the learner understanding. So that's my sharing about the effectiveness of the online teaching and learning.
Thank you, Wenyu. How about Gi Yun? Could you please to share your ideas about factors affecting the effectiveness of online teaching and learning?
Oh yes. So I think that there are some factors and they should be divided into two categories, which are subjective and objective. So for the first one, we have the two factors, learner characteristics and self-discipline as well as motivation. So for the first one, learner characteristics, as a rule of thumb, each student has a different learning style. Some students say that they feel more comfortable in class discussions with instructors and their peers in the classroom rather than online classes. Whereas other students are more interested in doing written work like assessment and projects through online courses. So there are some differences and students need some time to adapt to the new learning form. As for self-discipline and motivation, in online learning, students and teachers have more control over their learning environment and workspace. They can also work at a pace that they seem reasonable and whenever they want. However, this either boosts or reduces the effectiveness of learning and teaching. Some students say that it is hard for them to sit on the desk and study on time without the supervision of the teachers or their parents. They also say that it is hard for them to focus when they are at home, which also leads to more procrastination. Moreover, social media is one of the biggest distractions that the students encounter when they have to be online to study. So that's all for the subjective. Now for the objective, the most important thing is the interaction. So there are three types of interaction here: student content, students, and student teacher. So this is the same applied to the online teaching. So the first one, student content interaction. Due to the lack of in-time class, students are usually assigned to read the materials beforehand. However, when there is an overwhelming amount of reading assignments, the students feel they need more time to study in online learning rather than in regular classes. Moreover, it is more complicated to engage students in meaningful activities than in regular classes. And for the second, interaction, it is not easy for students to interact with each other in online learning. In many cases, students reveal that actually they have not met each other at all, and it is the lack of interaction that leads to the bad performance in their group work. For the last interaction, which is the thing that every teacher misses the most when they adapt to a new and remote teaching style. However, thanks to the development of conferencing platforms where students and teachers can talk to each other as in a traditional classroom. However, technology might be helpful, but there are some disadvantages also, which is the next factor. So online learning requires a more quality technology and device to ensure that classes are conducted smoothly. So this could be a bad experience for the students that are from the impoverished backgrounds because up-to-date devices are not really affordable. And moreover, students and teachers should always expect various technical problems that might come up and prepare a backup plan always. So those are some of my sharing on the factor affecting the effectiveness of learning and online learning and teaching.
Thank you so much, Ki Yun. How about Minan? What do you think about factors affecting the satisfaction of students?
Okay, thank you for asking me about the factors affecting the satisfaction of students. I believe that learner-centered education focuses on learner needs, learning experiences, and perspective rather than the subjective thoughts of the instructor or teachers. Some aspects of learners that should be considered are their academic performance, participation, opinions. While some are obvious and easy to measure by the passing course, some such as the perspective is more conservative and needing exploration. Therefore, it is important to investigate the factors affecting the satisfaction of students. According to a research of Mason and Weller 2000, up to one-third of students pay attention to the content of the curriculum. They think that the content of an offline course shouldn't be converted simply to the online version. The means of teaching is not the only thing that changes in this situation. Different modes of learning require different focus. Techniques, workload, etc. The content of the curriculum covers two main points. The first one is the proportion of changes to gain hands-on experience. To be specific, the students complain that the focus of the course should be more on practice rather than reading and assignments. Seeing this can lead to the lack of student training. The second one is students' diversity of needs and preferences. It's obvious that the students can have different background knowledge, experiences, needs, and preferences. For example, in a translation studies class, when some students desire to know about how to translate idioms, the other ones can find it more interesting to translate scientific paper. While in an offline class, it is easier to group students in smaller groups with different tasks. Online classes require more effort and tools to separate students and manage them. Time is second to mention because the majority of students complain that they have to spend more time on the same task compared to that of the offline one. For example, when working in a group, student has to devote time to get to know their new friend who they have never met before, while this situation is less likely to happen in an offline class. The last point is the interaction between teachers and students, and between students and students. The teacher's behaviors, proximity, eye contact are difficult to be fully expressed, leading to the lack of rapport in class, and it is also important to know how to group students for group discussion in class. Yes, this is my answer.
So many thanks for Wu Yuying, and Minan's sharing. Now we move on to the pedagogical implications and recommendations from teacher Yung Thị Mỹ Linh.
Yes, so thank you everyone so much, and I have listened to all of your opinions. And now let's move to the pedagogical implications and some recommendations that teachers like us can apply in our classroom with four main aspects. They are content, time, technology, and interactions. So the first two factors that are content at a time. So the content here should be focused on skill practice instead of theories. The reason is that some of our students complain that the theories may be too boring, and it also be worthless if they just sit in front of the computer and listen to the theories. The next one is the time. So not many students have much time to finish their assignment or their projects. So that is the reason why teachers need to ask for their perceptions in order to reduce the amount of the workload and to make them feel more comfortable, and they have more time to get used to the technology. Okay, so the next factors will be about the technology. So both teachers and students need to be equipped with technology knowledge in order to be more confident in the online teaching and learning. And this one can also affect the motivation of teachers and learners. The next one is the synchronous tools. So teachers are advised to incorporate different synchronous learning tools into their teaching in order to serve different purposes. For example, teachers can use Moodle, Padlets, Google Meet, or even the breakout room function of Zooms in order to foster the group work and collaboration. But if teachers want to foster the individual learning, they can apply quizzes, workbook, and Newport. The next factors will be about the interactions. So there are three main interactions happen in an online classroom. The first one is the student's content, the student interaction and the content. So teachers need to conduct a wide range of activities because as we know, we have many different learners characteristics in a classroom. So some students may enjoy writing project, some students may enjoy discussing with their friends. That is the reason why teachers need to conduct different activities in order to meet different learner needs. The second interactions happen between the teachers and the students. So it is very different from online learning because teachers cannot see student faces. However, we can interact with them by making the best use of synchronous technologies. We can interact with them through their answers, through their participations. By doing that, we can provide them with the feedback and also conduct formative assessment in order to know where they are going in the learning journey. The last interactions happens between the student and the students. So in order to foster the interaction between them, teachers need to conduct the peer assessment and also make use of the group work activities such as role play, group discussion, and also group projects. Yeah, so that is also the end of my part. Thank you for listening.
Many thanks for your all contribution. And that's the end of our meeting today. So if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to contact us via information attached below. Thank you.